abusian for hire for 1G cheda simutiri be se some koson yesa se na bia mo so mbeko so enya bieti no mombo modin na mo subscribe na mo share ma mo nyaso de enye binti so ready en fe ni nchim ni enka de won nchim edify the removal process na edi the suspended chief justice ma Torkornoo every hono na sisi information about no HS NPP for bonju so NPP for a bonju so then I say CB man bonjus because already in him say you're suspending no more demonstration at the chair say the John Dramani Mahama our president and on pay my name may be chess on my the MP but among can that say process near wrong because it is in the constitution. But right now, no, President John Dramani Mahama choose and Crawford 3 be very powerful. Oliver Barker, Vomoro, Tsikata, any title sorry, or Bagbin, lawyer, Kesi pa, just a nyasing to now. These 3 people, no, among big jinemu, ama petitioners for no, as petitioners for no lawyer. I'm on a cross examine. I'm a year 5 members committee near no or make sure say a petition no or domos to come cross examine Sani man kama a year petitioners no omubuatomium and yasim kutuan. Sabia is speaking no a dim me and say I've a table until NPP for some bonju so. Ama see no or more the agenda for a back and say Tsikata sorry ne Oliver Barker no omo ye NDC for that means omo person ma meneko no omo bobo pa ama Newz person bia there's so many pro NPP people for no are posted at this agenda in the room na Cyrus is speaking no afenyo man kene ne nkrofo nyina no and ye be or more ye send a baby to stop the removal process now. These 3 lawyers are moving petitioners for no. You say, make sure the constitution and be in juma. You're going to see a reactions about for this case.
I just said to myself, it's just one word that dropped in my head. Who can anyone guess that word?
What's that?
That it's a phrase actually.
Wait, why did you see that?
This is the banner headline. That's subject for discussion.
Oh, sorry.
This is a Justice League.
Yes. Yeah.
This is Justice League. How come all the, not all of them, but some of the legal practitioners we revere so much in this country be involved in this, should I say, constitutional brouhaha?
That's it. I love the construction.
Constitutional brouhaha, like God, you're sorry. Oliver Barker or Tsikata happens to be connected to the NDC.
Sorry, correction.
It's been reported here. You want to clear that, but the newspapers have indicated another. Okay, let me start from here. It says details have emerged about the identity of the lawyers representing the petitioners, calling for the removal of the Chief Justice, the veteran Tsikata, who is affiliated with the National Democratic Congress.
Exactly. So it's only Tsikata.
And he said, and it says, Daniel Sorry is a legal practitioner that has been exempted. Another private lawyer who some claims has ties.
Some claims that's the NPP claimed. You remember during the vetting.
Some did not.
I'm giving you evidence.
Categorize whether it was the NPP
I'm giving
the
you
Movement for Change or Dr. Marazuka.
I'm giving you evidence that's verified. During the vetting, the appointments committee settings, the NPP claimed that Vomoro was NDC. All right, he was invited to Parliament. He denied that flatly. In fact, he said he was affiliated to the CPP. He's never voted for the NDC. He's not an NDC member. And they had to eat humble pie. So for the records, Vomoro is not NDC. So these
petitioners, so he doesn't have ties with the NDC.
Neither the petitioners,
he's not sympathetic towards the NDC.
I'm making this categorical statement because the petitioners nor the lawyers for the petitioners are NDC apart from Tsikata. And I think that we should not allow the Daily Guide, which is an NPP paper owned by the former chairman of the NPP, to try and pigeonhole this thing into an NDC NPP, football. trying to exonerate the Chief Justice for crimes that she's alleged to have committed. We should look at the thing on the face of the law. The law is the law.
And that's what
the Ghana
we're
Bar
looking
Association cannot metamorphose into an NPP appendage to free her. Neither can the NPP as a party try to do this. And their media houses will not be allowed to bastardize this process.
I agree. But is it not very interesting that these three solid men are involved in this matter?
They're not involved. I think that everybody, including even criminals, are entitled to, legal representation. And fortunately, these are very qualified lawyers, perhaps overqualified, as you may want to term it. I mean, we know that Tsikata has been equated to the legal...
Anyway, good morning to Council Tadio. Sorry, I met him at the mini call, was it last 2 weeks? And he's such a nice man in person. I told him, say, you look intimidating on TV, and he was laughing. But he's such a nice man. Shout out to Council Tadio, sorry. Please.
Well, for interrupting me.
No, that was just
for interrupting me, praise me.
Yeah, praise me to you.
I said, am I intimidating?
No, you're
I'm a nice person in person. Anyway, so, it is important to state this for the record, that so far, nobody has been able to point to one single infraction on the part of the president relative to the Article 146 petition that is currently under review. That is that for the removal of the Chief Justice, Justice Torkornoo. Indeed, using even the Akufo-Addo standards, which in my view are very low and base. In fact, Akufo-Addo has no standards when it comes to 146 petitions. I have personally had 2 such petitions before him, both of which he has ignored, even though his surrogates in the Occupy Ghana and all those lawyers, Akroma, what's his name, Kofi Benso, the one he put in the law school, or is it, what's his name?
The director of
yes. One of his lawyers. One of those guys, bald, funny guy. Yeah, anyway. I mean, they claimed that, together with Samson Ladi, that the president in Article 146 petition cases is only a conveyor belt. In fact, Akroma went further to say that it's actually a postal address. And I recall that they even advised that when you are making such a petition, you copy the chairman of the Council of State, because invariably it must get to him. And so if the president refuses to act on it, at least the Council of State will be aware, and then they will advise him to act on. I did that. Yet, Akufo-Addo for 2 years refused to act on the Article 146 petition against Sofa Akufu for taking our lands for 7,000 Ghana cedis in cantonments, and yet sit on Jacob Echebilante's land issue in Rage. I mean, etc., etc. And there was a tall list of people who had looted. Most of them have been caught by the oral thing. Fine. Their day in court will come. But I'm saying that it's not surprising at all that when the thing went to the Council of State, that one person opted not to support that, prima facie case that was established. I mean, your guess is as good as mine who it would be that they decided not to join the 30 persons who are forming our Council of State. Okay, so if 1 out of 30 does not support this, that means that it's a clear case. And so you cannot fault the president for moving ahead on the advice of the Council of State that a prima facie case has been established against Justice Torkornoo. All right? And I'll bring us to a certain other situation. I remember during Judge Wood's tenure, there was an Article 146 petition, which I had a hand in. Again, it was about her having taken over some land, the International Students Hostel, which is not too far from here. The airport, the National Students Hostel, that's where the Foreign Affairs headquarters currently is. She and Atachia, who is making a lot of noise today, Katie Hammond and others, including lawyers. In fact, there were judges also. I remember there was Adinyira, and then the one at the International Criminal Court, what's her name? The name will come. There were several of them who took over that land. That land is a World Heritage Site. In fact, the International Student Hostel during Nkrumah's era was used to train a lot of African leaders to go and liberate their countries. We are talking about today, Sankara and others, for the good works they've done. Nkrumah was churning out a whole factory to ensure that we had African leaders capable of rescuing Africa from the shackles of colonialism. I mean, that was what it represented. And some people decided that that land or that thing should be owned by them. And these are lawyers and judges who have been acting on Article 25 and 6 and denying original landowners, pre-acquisition owners of their lands. Aberrations like this. These people should have no space. In fact, they should not go near any court or be party to our legal system or jurisprudence. And yet, these people are overseeing our courts. So when you have an Article 146 petition against a chief, it's a very serious matter. Because who presides over the courts of Ghana? All the courts of Ghana. Who empanels judges even at the highest court? It is that same person. In fact, I want to thank Professor Mills, even though he didn't take Judge Awu through the process. At least got her to confirm that indeed she had been given that, and she returned. In fact, she extinguished her interest in that land because she got a phone call that she had been offered the land. She didn't have money, so she exchanged it with her cheap Akwetema land for prime airport land. That thing was taken from all of them, including Ataxia and those who are making noise today, and given back to foreign affairs because it was foreign affairs land. We didn't make any fight about it because we gave it for foreign affairs purposes. The land was given to government of Ghana for foreign affairs purposes. So if it's going to be used to build a foreign affairs complex to replace that which Akufo-Addo bent during his tenure as foreign minister, got bent under his watch as foreign minister. You remember that passport fraud, the one that the drug barons and those people were. Then the place got bent under his watch. So that was the replacement. That is fair. She was let off the hook. I wish that matter had gone further. But fine, at least Ghana has secured the land back for Ghana for the foreign affairs. In this particular instance, what is at stake? In fact, note also that the president has been circumspect all this while. The president has not divulged anything to do with the contents of any of the petitions. Right. That should be on record, because when it comes to Article 146 petitions against chief justices, there is a much higher standard. In the case of, let's say, the electoral commissioner and the strike boards, which have been successful in the past, that's Charlotte Osei and Vivian Lamte, okay? Those ones, it is not kept secret. The information can be out there, and it was out there, and the charges were made known to Ghanaians, and then subsequently they were removed. Those people thought the Charlotte Osei one was wrong. And of course, we have another Article 146 petition pending against the EC boss. Those who think that there's nothing against her. It's been pending since 2021, 21st January.
I think maybe we should settle that of the CJ.
I'm just putting these things side by side.
Controversy, yeah.
No, I'm just putting it side by side.
No, he was actually linking it to.
I'm saying the crimes that the people committed.
And the petitions that have been leveled against.
You see, there must be a good reason for getting somebody out. Now, because you mentioned the land issue, the land manche had petitioned the president on our lands that were being stolen, and then threatened that we're going to go to court. Whose court were we going to go to? Who was going to preside over that? Which chief justice was going to panel? And so it was necessary to have the chief justice removed because she herself was complicit. That is the basis. And so if somebody says that does not form prima facie, or it is not a grave enough conduct of misbehavior, then what else can be? So the standard and the bar had been met and over exceeded. In her instance, we are hearing that, what's the title? They said what? Suspended chief justice cited in fresh corruption scandal.
Yeah.
What are these corruption scandals? I'm sure you would enlighten us. But I've heard former Speaker of Parliament, Michael Quay, Professor Reverend Michael Quay, say that he thinks that this whole thing should be stopped unless it is made public, even though the Constitution says that the contents of the petitions should not be made public. She thinks that the trial should be made public.
It's actually the Constitution that dictates that it should be an in-camera process.
Exactly, but here is a Speaker of Parliament, a member of the NPP.
But she herself also made that demand.
That she wants the
president and every other thing that pertains to this subject matter is known to the public. So why don't they make the procedure public?
So they are saying to us that we should disregard what the Constitution expressly says.
But the committee says they are inclined to the dictates of the Constitution.
Yes, so they weren't going to listen to these people again. No. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. The person who says the law is the law is agreeing with people who are saying the most absurd thing. Even this should be.
The law has to be the law. So we have to uphold the rule of law as high as we can.
No, that's reasonable.
the law is for the poor.
No, you see, it is treason to overturn the constitution, whether aspects of it in full, correct?
So she's coming from the tangent of, okay, everything that pertains to this.
Who made it public? Who made it public?
It's made public. In as much as the constitution says it should be behind closed doors. It is known to the public. So why don't you make every other thing concerning it public?
Regardless of what the constitution says, she is not fit to be a chief justice. She is not fit to be a judge. If she thinks that the constitution should be overturned because of reason A or B, when there's a constitutional review process in works, why doesn't she rather advise the constitutional review the same people that going forward because of this, that, do this? She knows better than that. I don't think she said what you are saying she said. I am disbelieving you on this one.
It's actually here.
If she said that, then that should constitute grounds for a petition for her removal.
Let me read that. Says the Council of State, after considering 3 separate petitions filed by a private citizen, Daniel Fure, senior police officer, Ajama Akologo, and a group calling itself Shining Stars. Okay, is that failed injunction on May 6th, 2025? The Supreme Court, by a 3-2 majority decision. I'm not sure if that's where it is, but somewhere here.
Let me take your word on it since the time is
Acting
running.
President reversing warrant, refused the application which sought to order the president to revoke suspension of the Chief Justice. The court did not give a full reason, but okay, before that, it's captured somewhere here.
Never mind, I'll take your word for it. I've known you in the past. Yes, okay.
The report said Justice Torkornoo's request was, however, turned down by the committee, which indicated that since Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution demands that the committee sitting be held in camera, they are in
NPP for a young crofwa. Tsikata almost na chapa almost runa from a year jail ko 4 time ko jail ko 4 time na muchi ni tumu o sorry them na mko kukuru no ko to prison jail ko 4 time ton ano man time ni but we jinem mache chese woni mra bientimi sisem mra no edan kukum onim sha ni me no onim se de adwuma. So these people no about Tsatsu din na kwa say they abobon some din among because omunim say any argument be papa we din be pie from bia na just say Aakroma election and who case a court John Dramani Mahama Kofano papa we go ba me any mass poto enya senketwa ti ebeka enka why Supreme Court Justice da and I say Chief Justice da but it is a pan and Ninja and enjoy. Yes, into no a year judges for bebre or my passe through a year this a year papa we almost seeing near my bebre free no almost just on my channel I see tactics bebre free no now sa papa we NSC no President Mahama actually wura the removal process of the Chief Justice in Title sorry so some say actually abishim just a kukudam pa. So as you speaking on Fünuma kene sana na bi mo agenda o mukukuri se na bi on bitim dia protect a Chief Justice no news ka create any information about just say because and then Homakobopa daily guide and Homakobopa allegedly say Omonfa and share a year front page Kesi pa say NDC lawyers and a Mahama Akwako form NDC lawyers and a Mahama Akwako form. Adiwi, does it make sense? Does it make sense? When a catcher say title sorry NDC lawyer. One is I can say Oliver Barker or NDC lawyer. Oliver Barker criticized NDC da. To all criticize NDC doesn't mean on or NPP. Ordinary Ghanaian issue concern criticize the government or your opposition for any day. The near my NPP for be obi a sebe na adwumu da ho a wonim se ade a muyi enye no on criticize. So the 58 million to from Keke. udi two for more. Into what dream da wapa because oh I do a year pa. And say Ghana ye huntamo. Only udi two for mama na than tourist attraction assassin. And the biggest fish pond grandpa Kasabiki nya some fast fish pond. Kasabiki nya some fast. I be cry ye demand a was ye need social amenities bia the technology will form youth in your Jumanye. Now the $58 million I could to form. That a nyansa ben over and no criticize as we end this in it. So as you speaking of, I had this petition now about Bontino. I don't know, it be Mother Chief Justice and no friend on according who says you Johnny Jano. Any aqua train these lawyers and as someone back cross examine your society about room. I don't know, Adani NPP for no adrin drain near draw. I just a more down munda. Now, seeing him say, Tsikata and the Dean was saying, be making sure that the right thing must be done. On Casa said the more can NDC need to know at the end and your grandpa, not draining the conscience and conscience and say, yeah, dear, we in the end or in conscience. NDC lawyers for NDC for no. You say, be a mob drain this year because NDC for no, who shed the yard deep being come from because the John Dramani Mahama. The 4 months if I compare for 8 years or they show a moon share difference in him. Okasa ebecho ye brubi or the akunya sikem or the akunya asikem sekani nyina no akunya v8 na ekukuru ka no sano ye no. I don't think that's how not here. Now so no these people on the omono in near my part, this government, ye win in age, no. Almost selfish, say this government, and ye, Utuni Naya, hey, when to ye, or to the Kosra, hey, or to a Kosra dodo. Meanwhile, himself or horns go and try and Kosra, or be pony was, he will talk Kosra dodo. So these people no omunya the pepe biama Ghana ye no machi wade because Ghana ye ya what the 50 series never done and so on to have a moana. What the 20 series never done and so on to have a moana and one and one gari no. The Ghana ye na Ghana for hotomo or mom penisa. Ghana one chirom no for 10 series in bed. Na monfa 50 series mbeda da monfa gare mbeda da omomo de no na wa be sleep wa be akwa next can go one side. So these people no say they man for no do you almost see evil we should that word evil ni wicked mom no enya asen to subscribe na share man so dey bintia for